Okay, now for blue-green deployments, okay, it's just a concept of continuous deploying your application so that there is little or no downtime. Imagine you have, for example, you have Google or Yahoo, right? And immediately, if they want to make updates, maybe you have like a black screen, and then before you know, the screen is white. In seconds, and the application is not down. You want to make updates to the application without zero or no downtime. You cannot get a zero downtime, but you can get very, very close to zero downtime. Okay, so you are looking at the concept of, you know, two identical production environments. One is, let's say, blue, okay, and then the second one is, let's say, green. And then you want to, you know, do a deployment such that you want to deploy, replace blue with green, so that people don't even tell the difference. You can do that using the concept of blue-green deployment, so that you are switching without even anybody even noticing there's downtime within your server. Okay. Now we could demonstrate that by creating two deployments. Okay. The first deployment, we are going to call it demo app 001. Okay. So I'll just copy this manifest. Okay, I'm using K3S. So I'll clear my screen. So I'll call it I'll call it demo 1, okay, .yml. All right. So this is my first deployment file. Okay. Right. So what this deployment file is creating a deployment for me. The name of the deployment is deploy2. Okay. The application label that is identified within, we can use to identify it, is app v1. Okay. Yes, it's going to give me 3 replicas. Okay, that's 3 pods. All right. And then the selector label is app v1. Okay, so this part is very important. This part is what the service file will use, okay, to expose the application to the outside world. All right. So, but the most important thing here is the image. All right. So we are going to change this image. This is the image that will give us our application. All right. That's the most important thing. And the image is this on container port 8080, but we are going to route it using, export it to our node ports. So I would change this image to, if you go to your Jira, all right, go over to issues, because that image is not going to work. You see links and videos, right? And you see this image, okay? It's X blue-green V1, all right? So that's the image I'm going to use. So I'll paste this image here, all right? And I have my first deployment, okay? Let's say this is the version 1 of my application, all right? Then I'll create my second deployment file, right? Demo 02, all right, .yml. Okay. Now, okay, the name of the deployment is deploy2. I'll call it deploy. I'll call it. I think I have to. I didn't name it properly. The other one. Let me leave this place. Okay. Let me go and modify this one. Demo 1. I'll call this one here deploy 1. All right. I'll call it deploy 1. Okay. And then the second one, So you can just modify that in your own. But if you use the same thing, it still work, okay? So I'll just copy the second manifest. This for demo O2. All right. So I will change the image here because this image is not going to work. Okay. I'll change this image. All right. There are two images. The first image is V1. Second image is going to be V2. All right. So you make sure you modify it on yours. Okay, this will be the second image, V2. All right. The first image will give us a blue application. The second image is supposed to give us a green application. All right. So I would save this. Now, notice one thing. The metadata label is app V2. Selector label also is app V2. Okay. So we are going to reference on this later words in our application. All right. We reference that later on in our application. Okay, so to save this, so I have my two deployment files, demo O1 and demo O2. Okay, now remember, you need a service file in order to expose this application to the outside world. Okay, so is the service file that will determine is it application 1 or application 2 that we are going to push. Okay, so we'll also create our service file. All right. So our service file, I'm going to call it I'll call it service O1. All right. So I'll just copy this and then I'll just use I'll call it service O1. All right, .yml. Okay. Insert and paste this. So this is our service file, all right? So this is our service file. The name that is to be known is SVC2, okay? Now, it has a label, selector label. This label is referring to version 1 of our application, all right? You see the selector label here, sorry. This selector label is selecting the deployments that it will expose. So here, it is selecting the demo O1. All right. So we'll just save this. Okay. Now the next thing is to let's create it. So I'll just do cube ctl. All right. Apply -f. Apply -f. Let's do our demo O1. Okay, first that's unchanged. Okay, I think I need to update this demo O1 because the name is similar. I'll call it, yeah, I'm going to call it I'll call it dev1, all right? Just because I've done something with that name before. I'll call it dev1, all right? So I'll do kubectl apply. Okay, so it has created my application, dev1, okay? Now I'll do the second one for demo O2. Apply O2. Okay, it has created the second one. All right. Now, the next thing that I need to do is my service, right? I'll do kubectl apply service. Service O1. Service O1, yes. So it has created my service. Now, okay, if I now do kubectl get service. All right, so this is the service that was created. I had this one before already, okay, but this is the one that was created, SVC2, okay? and then it is sitting on port 32,600 on my node. All right, so I will go to my IP address. Okay, I'll go to my IP address on port 32,600. So let me go to my IP address of my instance. Three 2,600. As if it is open. So I have to make sure it's open. Okay. Go over to security. Yeah, I have to open the ports. Okay, rule. So I just add 32,600. Anywhere. Okay. And then if I refresh, come on. So this is my application, the blue screen. All right. Now, our application is up. Okay. Application is up because we have is selecting V1. Okay. Now, if you want, the concept of bluegreen deployment is just using the service file, okay, to select between application V1 and V2. All right. Now, if you go back to our manifest, you remember that if you do VI demo 1, see, our first deployment, this is V1. All right. So it's selecting V1. All right. Now, if you go to the other one, demo 02, all right, this is the label here, V2. Okay. So we are going to select V2 now. And then it will switch automatically. So what we'll just do is we just go to our service file, all right, and change here V2. So it should give us, then we'll now update. We'll run this again, okay? It has updated. Now, if you come here to our application, I can refresh, see the green screen, okay? And it changed without you knowing, without almost zero downtime. Okay, so that's just the concept of blue-green deployment. Blue-green deployment just deals with the service file, modifying the selector label for it to get whatever results that you actually desire. Do you have any questions on this?
So basically, this is just like creating a high availability for your application.
Exactly, that's the whole point. That is the point. Okay, so there's no downtime. All right. So Kubernetes helps us to achieve this within its own framework.
So I'm wondering as well, since since in Docker you can create container. So what is the difference between the Kubernetes? Is it because it has a way of creating multiple containers?
So Kubernetes helps you manage them.
Okay, manage the containers.
Managing the containers. Okay, so you can manage the life cycle. You can do self-healing. Okay, so if your container is down, it can heal it, replace it immediately for you.
Oh, okay.
You can add more pods, okay, to your container. You can do your networking very well. You know, it gives you much more control, okay? If you're just dealing with Docker alone, you'll be doing a lot of work configuring this and that. But in Kubernetes, you know, you can, from a manifest, define anything you want, anyhow you want it, okay? As long as